That's another thing in the Matrix. Life sucks. Life is hard. That's something we're told at a young age is that that's just how it is and be realistic and life is hard and it's all BS.
Today, we're talking with Jen Haddix, and we're going to talk about her journey from bipolar to really truly choosing herself and being in her full expression.
Yay.
She works in really helping people like come out of their shell and coming out of their fears. And she's a sound healer. I'm so glad she's joining us. She also journeys the world too, which is very
Right.
fun to watch.
Let's do a little check-ins.
Oh my goodness.
How was it after you've gotten all these big transmissions, lots of
Yeah.
channeling coming online, and we did that party for the Mardi Gras?
Oh my gosh,
How
wasn't
are
that
you
a fun
feeling?
one? Oh my gosh, I feel pretty lit up today.
Yeah, me too.
And like I said at the very beginning, we're going to get loaded on
And then you knocked everything
energy,
down.
locked and loaded and in gear.
With all of the different frequencies that are coming in, this will lead me right into the space weather news. But I feel like there has been just this really massive blast of light, and the information that I got, like I said the other night from Metatron, was that the veil is gone. The only veil that we have now is the ones that we like to recreate and put in our own way, in order to keep ourselves safe and in order to keep things normal. And that the words I got was the directive has changed because so many more humans are choosing to wake up, and they are able to assist us in ways that they hadn't been able to before. So a lot of DFY, so done for you. So if there's something that you've got on your heart and you want to ask your spirit guides to assist you, know that it never falls on deaf ears, but you can ask again, and it will have been elevated and also changed from day to day.
Like now,
Isn't that
it's the
fun?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so energetic. I just saw it.
For Mystic Space Weather News, today I'm just going to read a little bit from a little bit about the Schumann resonance and March. It says, it comes to us from, I always like to give credit, from the Bougie Healer on Instagram. She's really cool. She says, March is the kickoff. We're in a heightened energy that kicks off this month into our new reality. Things are opening up and the information is streaming in. This will give us the momentum, support, and activations and clarity we need to move forward in this new life. Things will shift. People will enter your field and support you that you didn't even know that they were there, and they will just continue to be showing up. We are beginning to embody more of our true multidimensionality. And the key now is to move with the energy by taking more action towards goals and setting strong boundaries. Now, so you have all the energy that you need for your growth. Make sure others know too. Your growth allows others to grow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I haven't heard that kind of message in a long time. To
I-
remind you to actually talk about it.
yes. Yes.
That was kind of comes back to the Tuesday show.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what I was getting so uncomfortable with things. My
Yeah.
little dragon.
Oh, yeah. We were doing
When I was
channeling. Yes.
I was working on that.
Oh,
The
fun.
last couple nights I've been working on it.
Can't wait
When
to
I say
see.
working on, I'm a dog with a bone when it comes to this work, right? So when I'm like, ugh, I see a veil, I see a wall, I see that I'm being uncomfortable with the awakening of these mystical gifts, I then really have to step back and go, okay, Jenna, what is this really? And who does this belong to? Like, what kind of construct outside of my innate being is stopping me? And that's usually my favorite way to get to that. And I realized that it was just this whole collective almost, but it was specifically my father. When I had to pinpoint it, I was like, what would he think? If he had heard this show, what would he think? How would he judge it? And then it was like, okay, so all of that,
Yeah.
That's not me.
Yeah.
Nor is that going to happen. So, it was easier for me to everything that is.
We just try and create. And
Yeah.
anyone for the line, I felt that energy really come up. If you're, if there's something that you're judging, and you can ask the question, who does this belong to? And lots of times it used to belong to my mom.
Yeah.
So for everyone, again, who does this belong to? Where are you judging? Who does this belong to? and destroy and uncreate. Oh,
Yeah, it's
take a
perfect.
breath.
It's like the fastest way to
Woo,
get there
it
sometimes.
is. I love how you always bring in a lot of questioning, and I wanted to just highlight that for the people that are listening in today. Whenever you hear Jeanette doing the questioning, that's how she's really breaking in and stripping away some of those limiting beliefs. And she does it kind of on the fly so fast, but those are big things. That's really crux of it all is the questioning. So it's really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a morning little woo with a lot of brew. No, it's like morning woo with brew.
Yeah. Mhm.
And today I wanted to talk about sound and frequencies and the depth that we get. And it actually started with me thinking about my headphones, that these headphones I've lived in for almost 3 years. They're such a good quality. I take them on trips. I sleep in them.
Yeah.
I do meditations in them. I do the show in them.
I can't even imagine that.
I
I like
mean-
want to rip these off all the time. They're kind of dorky.
They're a little ouchy with earrings though, sometimes,
Oh, that's
depending on how deep they are. But
That's
sound in my life has really changed who I am
That's cool.
today, sound frequency. And I know that Jen is a sound healer, so I thought I would also bring that in and just remind you to really pay attention to what you're choosing to hear things with and the ears that you're choosing with. You don't have to buy a good
that's
quality
good.
headphone to hear things deeper and hear things with more frequency, but really inviting some of the frequencies from songs that you love to come in and help you and
Yeah.
change
I
you,
love this.
right?
Yeah.
Like really taking it that next level, because you can hear a song like Queen Under Pressure, which I used for so long to help me with my Haute hustle,
That's cute. That's cute.
right? But
See what you're
if I
doing here.
now listen to it with new ears
Yeah.
and go beyond that, I find that it just envelops my entire essence and my aura way beyond my body.
That sounds juicy.
So just a reminder to listen beyond the frequency of what you hear. And if you want these headphones, I did put them in the Amazon shop. It's under workflow. This tape desk is in the workflow and a few other things. So, and if you want something or you see something, let me know. But it's in the regular Amazon shop. You can see it on the newsletter Amazon shop and go to workflow section and then you'll find it.
Nice. That also brings up if there's anything that because one of the things that we wanted to really be about was products that are
Real, yeah.
yeah.
And I research, I mean,
Yeah,
I
she
almost
does.
don't
She
buy it.
does.
I almost don't buy anything until I read all the
She
reviews.
does. And
I always go to the worst reviews first. I want to see what do people hate about this item?
She does, y'all.
But I care. I mean, I
Yeah.
you know, I want the things I want in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with intentionality and a lot of the products and services that we decided that we wanted to share were stuff that either better meant for the earth and better meant for our bodies, things that we've really, really researched. So that's there. And then also if there's something that you have, run across, send it to us, want us to take a look at and maybe share with the audience. I mean, I don't have time for the reviews, but y'all might. And you and Jenneth might.
I love doing that kind of stuff.
I think it's just it's such a great way in order to kind of keep us all choosing better. And if we're going to be choosing with our dollars,
Mhm.
let us do it. Let us do it with a lot more intentionality and bring in the new earth in the way that we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
go ahead and put the link in the chat, by the way, and then we'll bring Jen up. So
And email us team@houtehustle.com with any of those recommendations. Did you like a really great, is somebody creating a really great, bath bomb that you love and it's just super juicy? We'd love to hear about it too.
I have a lot of hacks these days.
Oh, I love hacks. I love hacks.
Hack for UTI, hack for yeast
You do.
infection.
You do. And they're all like naturopath. I'm over here just like, give me an
Give me
antibiotic.
the antibiotic, and I'm
Yeah.
like the exact opposite.
I'm learning,
Somebody.
Jen. She's changing me.
Let's start a little bit with your journey. Before I had my awakening and became a walk-in, I was extremely depressed. And I had a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression to the degree that I really wondered why I was even on this planet. So I would love for you to start with your journey on bipolar and when you were diagnosed and what that meant about you and how did that take you into yoga and this deeper journey?
I did an astrology reading right around my Saturn return. I was like, oh, that makes, she was like, did something significant happen then? I'm like, yeah, my life changed. I had a very traumatic childhood. I definitely have some complex PTSD. And it's funny, everything you said at the beginning of the show super duper resonates with me. I feel like I jumped timelines and there's some like ancestral trauma coming up to be healed. And I'm getting all these messages and everything is, the veil is lifted, but I'm keeping my own veils and I'm working through letting those go. I want to
And I
hold
had a troubled childhood too. So yeah.
that's it's like part of my identity.
Yes,
So
it
I'm
had
holding
been,
on to
yes.
it, and it's really, yeah. So I had a lot of that going on as a kid, and I'd always struggled with depression and manic episodes, and just this up and down, really having a hard time. I was an alcoholic, and
Right here.
oh, like me and you right here, Ella.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
signed
4
up
years
for that
older.
same class.
Yeah. We signed up for the same Earth school. It's really
That's
fun.
right. That's right.
Was just really struggling, and then I did a bodybuilding competition, so I was really into
Oh,
fitness. I was a
cool.
person. It was one of the most crazy things that I've ever done because it kind of kicked off all of this healing work. So I've had eating disorders my whole life. I was really heavy, and so I became a personal trainer. I got really really lean. I got on stage in the little bikini with the plastic high heels and the Oompa Loompa tan, and I got last place. And I like just completely lost it. I shaved my head. It broke me. And I decided to go to a doctor and I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was suicidal. I was wondering, what the heck am I doing on this planet? Why am I here? I would just
Oh, wow.
lay there and stare at the wall for hours at a time. And my grandpa had manic depressive disorder. So I was just, there's some of it in my lineage and whatnot.
Sure.
So I got on medication. And for anybody who's ever taken that kind of medication, I want to please, like, I'm very anti-Western medicine now, but I never judge anybody for what they need to do because
Sure.
it pulls me out of a bad spot. But I felt like a zombie. I didn't feel good, and I was also still drinking, so I was mixing it with alcohol, and I'm like, okay, this is a great combination. And so I met a homeopath, and we actually sent my medications to a homeopathic lab. I got them back in homeopathic versions, and I was able to wean myself off of
Nice.
lithium and Klonopin with homeopathy.
Mhm.
Very good.
She played mom to me for a very long time. My mom's passed away for a long time now. And I just really needed that motherly energy. And so she kind of played that for a while, helped me get kind of out of that dark hole that I was in. And then I did yoga teacher training, and then that opened up more doors. And then I became a sound healer. And so now, once it started, it wouldn't stop. All
Of
the doors.
course.
Fabulous. I made the topic awaken to your full expression because
Ooh.
when I'm with you, that's the frequency of you. And that's what attracted to me. When I first heard you, I was like, I just like who she is because she's open. There's not these walls. It's really about being all of you and really awakening to your full expression. So I know that you've gotten there with some inner child work and things like that. What is it that you do when you hit that uncomfortable zone?
First of all, that was such an enormous compliment. Thank you.
Yay.
Well, and I keep hitting uncomfortable. I'm hitting more and more uncomfortable walls right now, so it's super fun. I'm like, this is
What
fun.
God-
I got some information that was incredibly painful this past weekend. My sister and I did a plant medicine journey, and she told me some stuff that I didn't remember. And while it made me cry for 24 hours and it made me like really sad, I was like, oh my God, this is a door. This is a portal. I'm so excited to dive into what it means to
Wow.
do it. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was really excited about that. I go to yoga, but that's one of my main go-tos because I have a very busy mind. And so that movement with the breath, usually I can't think too much and I like to push my body. If I'm having a hard time and I meet a new wall, the very first thing I did with this information was I went to yoga and cried on my mat. I have been going to more sound baths. I struggle to go to as many receiving things as I facilitate much more than I receive. Sound healing, I've been doing a lot more of that, a lot of meditation. One of my go-to practices is this. Like, I just like to
shake it out.
Nice.
when I hit a
Uh-huh.
wall, I'm like, okay, let me get it out of my body.
Yeah.
Let me move it. And then I also like to vocally process, and that will help me a lot too. I will talk to the universe. I will talk to my voice recorder. I will talk to a safe friend.
Cool.
Basically, I feel like when you hit those walls, it's really powerful to first identify it. And even if you don't know yet, that's okay. Just identifying that you have the wall. Where is it coming from? Even if
Mhm.
it's positive, just kind of starting to acknowledge that.
Mhm.
And then, is this mine? Is this mine?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
a lot of the time it's not. And then can we move it out somehow? How do you energetically move things out of your body? And it's different for everybody, but mine is movement and voice usually.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny. So many people, I've been asking questions on the Instagram reel, or on our Instagram page, and some of the questions about like overcoming fear and things like that have been quite, insightful. And I thought, that's one of the big ones, like getting out of your comfort zone. Like there, you have a process for it.
Mhm.
Some people don't,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
think it's important for us to explore, who has the tools to help.
Sure.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the inner child.
I was just gonna ask that.
Ah,
Yep. I was like, okay, when she's done, I'm about to ask the inner child because that one is the one that I feel like I don't do enough of. And when I realize that all time and space and everything is existing at the same time, and we're all that I can actually go and be with my inner child. I thought that it was just like, I'm rethinking about how the past went and just loving on this like ghost of whatever. And when I realized that I can go and comfort my inner child through all time and space, I was floored. I actually think it was during your presentation that I got that message. And I just sat up and I told Jeanette, I said, "Oh my gosh, it's real."
You did.
I did. And now it's coming back to me. It was during your presentation. And I was passively listening. So yes, please jump in for that. Oh my
Might be
goodness.
fun.
Yeah.
oh my God. I have
Yeah.
chills. Full on
Me
goosebumps.
too.
That is exactly it. And you just put it into words so beautifully. I think most people see that and they're like, yeah, I'm just harping on the past or, loving on the ghost of what was or what. And no, it's literally time is not real. We know that here, right? So it's just
Exactly.
they're happening at all times. And so you can literally go back and reparent yourself and give yourself
Oh,
everything it is that you didn't have.
Oh,
which changes where we
wow.
are today.
Which
Like,
literally, yeah, exactly.
yes.
It's
Isn't that
almost like
crazy?
traveling. It's
Yes.
almost like time traveling. And
Yes.
you go back and you say, okay, what did little Jen need? She needed a little bit more love. She needed to be seen. Okay, I'm going to sit with her. I'm going to love her. I'm going to see her. I'm going to listen to her. And that will change your current reality.
I know. That is so
Wild.
fascinating.
And the practices that I teach are, I mean, it really is more of getting to a place of understanding what you said. So somebody could come to my tools and go, okay, well, yeah, cool. I'm sitting with a vision of my younger self. It's
Yeah.
not me like
Right.
calling in the old vibration and reharping it, whatever. No,
Mhm.
and that's how they take it. That's how they take it. But it doesn't. But it's still helpful. It's still helpful to connect, and it's opening the door to understand exactly what you said. But if you approach it from a place of that, even if you're not quite that woo woo and don't fully
Mhm.
embody that yet,
Mhm.
kind of suspend disbelief and go, you know what? I think I'm going to pretend like I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to be with my inner child. That will still start to shift your reality. And so, yeah.
I completely agree. And I think it was really fascinating that one of the things that came to me is that I'm just gonna say it. Whenever I saw inner child in in people's work or like they work with the inner child, I mean, I've been through some of the different leadership trainings. They had us do some inner child work, and there it was, just picturing us in some junkyard, some weird things or whatever, right? And so whenever I see those words, I kind of go like, like,
Yeah,
right?
no, but the way that you were talking about it is very
Blew my
different,
mind. Completely
right?
got it.
I mean, and
It was like a download. It was like what
Right.
you were saying, allowed a download. I wasn't even looking at you. I was laying on the little
Mhm.
amethyst mat
Yeah.
over here, just taking a break because we were so busy that day. And I was just allowing what you were saying to just be with me. And all of a sudden, this huge download came through, and I was able to see it. Like, and then I was like, oh, and then I went and loved on my inner child that evening, and I've been doing that since, and probably need to do more, but and
Wow.
maybe a little more structure like you share. How do you tell people how to work with that? What would you tell
Yeah.
me to do
Teach
if I was
us.
going to do that? Yeah.
Well, really quickly, I just want to share that I love that that was your experience because I'm currently working a lot with my human design. I hired a business coach who is specific to projectors, and something that I'm learning about myself is it's not even so much the tools that I'm sharing as it is that I'm the conduit for the conduit and the space holder for the information to come through. So I'm literally just creating a space for you to get that download and understand. And so that is very validating. Thank you, because I'm learning how to lean into that as a facilitator and as a helper. But that being said, the tools are all probably tools that everybody has read anywhere. If you've ever heard about inner child work, and you might have that, like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, inner child work. I've heard that at a corporate whatever. It's all the same tools, but a lot of the things that I share are guided meditations to basically spend time with them. One of the first meditations I was ever introduced to that I loved so much is Tasha Silver. I don't know if you all are familiar with her, but she wrote the book It's Not Your Money, which, if you are into financial consciousness, that book trumps all financial books. It's the best book I've ever read about.
Writing it down. Yes.
It's so good. But she does an inner child meditation where you basically just invite them into your space, and sometimes they're afraid of you. Sometimes they're hiding in a closet or they're not ready to sit with you, but you visualize having them with you, and they can morph ages, they can morph spaces. Again, time and space, it's all, everything. And you just listen to them, because think about when you were a kid and you came into this world already with your mission and all the light codes and all the things that you wanted to tell the world, but you couldn't talk yet. And then the adults tell you, like, stop jumping, stop screaming, stop running, stop having fun, be quiet, you're in public, all the things that they had you do. And slowly but surely you kind of got smushed into this little box of how you're supposed to behave in society.
Yeah.
And you probably wanted to speak up about something exciting and no one was listening to you, or you needed more love and nobody was paying attention to, there's all these things. And so it starts with just, hey, what do you need? I'm not going anywhere. How can I be here for you? Like, setting aside intentional time and being like, I am not going anywhere. I would listen to you I want to cry just talking about it.
I know.
Hours, like, yeah.
Wow. And I just got this vision of, I remember playing with imaginary friends and being really, really happy that I had those imaginary friends because of my childhood.
Maybe that was you.
Yes, I got that. Yes, I just got that.
Oh my God.
That was and so I just remembered being in this kind of like a little cubby that I would go sit in this hallway by myself. And I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I was working with me, like me now. And it's
Funny you say
so
that,
cool.
because
I got chills all over everywhere.
I don't remember much of my childhood, but when you said that, it made me recall I wanted to be a part of the Brady Bunch. Like, I wanted like all those like 5 sisters and brothers and the whole clan.
Jen, what are you pulling out of us? Girl, you're working it over here.
And I did feel like they taught me things. Like, I had this older sister, I was like Cindy.
Wow.
Funny?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fascinating.
Have you both, I'm assuming, have seen Interstellar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
And you know the part where he's in the black hole and he basically is like pushing the books through the little wall to her,
Yes.
young, to get messages to her. That's how I see it. Like, that was
Yes.
helping you. That was you even coming
Yes.
to
Oh my
Brady Bunch.
gosh.
Like, we're always here for, like, we
Oh my
are our,
gosh. You
I'm
should
like, I
see my
know.
arms.
I'm a
They-
kind of
You are telling the truth here. Oh my gosh.
well, and I
y'all.
didn't even realize any of this until talking to you. So it's coming through me right now, and I'm like, holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah, wowzers. Well, anyone else that's really asking for some information, definitely when we wrap this call or listen to it again, ask what your truth is. And I feel like you're also going to get downloads from this call. It's very magical. It's very cool.
Oh my God.
Yay.
So what are some questions that we can open the door to activate this meeting of our inner child or our real self?
Yeah, coming
the
through.
past?
Wow, this is cool.
I mean, it's really this is something too that I'm realizing is everybody processes things very differently. So I could give you these tools, and for me, I love to listen, I love to talk. That's part of my design, and so that works really well for me. But for some people, it might be, I like to invite in like art projects. Sometimes that's a really good way. This is, rather than saying a question, this is something that I think is a really powerful way to reconnect to them, is to have more fun. As adults, we don't have very much fun. I mean, we are having a lot of fun right now, but I've created a life that helps me have more fun. But we
I feel
tend
like
to-
I do.
right? I'm like, I do, but a lot of people who are kind of still stuck in that,
I remember when I didn't, and it wasn't that long ago.
like,
I mean-
corporate. I'm assuming,
It was like a year and a half ago.
I wanted to throw up. I was so miserable. I knew there had to be a different way for life.
but I'm an adult. I need to be responsible.
Yes.
Blah, 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 blah. Like, all of that is,
Yes.
all of that is crap. Like, if you, I'm 40, my boyfriend is
Crap.
40.
I'm gonna like use that as a clip.
Oh,
All
that's
of adulting is crap.
Oh my God, I want to be a meme or a GIF.
yes, that'll be the short for sure.
Yes,
I love
please.
it so much.
My boyfriend and I are in our 40s, and you would never guess because if you see us anywhere in public, we are running, we are jumping, we are singing, we are giggling,
Great.
we're
Oh, I
like
love this.
around, we're doing silly stuff,
Yep.
and that's what I do all the time. And I've started doing that over the past few years of meeting him because he kind of brought that out in me, and he had a traumatic childhood too, and so it's just like he's a soul person that I was meant to meet in this timeline. But it has made my business go better. It's made my life better. It's made my body healthier. It's made everything has become better because I play more. And something that
Yes.
for me, I grew up doing musical theater, so I've got a background in singing, acting, dancing. It's what I did for so long, and I took a break, but now I'm infusing it into my business. I do sound healing, so I sing a lot, and I also do what I like to call divine voice activation, so I get my clients to use their voice as well. But aside from that,
Fun.
I take singing lessons and I go to dance class every single week because it makes me happy. Like it just,
Girl, I'm gonna add that back to my life.
are you too?
I do sing. Yeah, I sang and danced when I was young too.
Oh my God, do
And
you do it?
yeah, I don't. I don't. I used to be a lead singer for like the Haute band and everything. Like I did this like as things, and I haven't. My heart is calling for it. So yes,
Girl, I'm
I know. I know all the things, y'all. All the things.
however you want to incorporate it, but that,
Sure.
even though you're clearly happy and doing amazing, it might unlock your next level just to start to incorporate that into your life.
Ay,
And
ay, ay.
Well, she does have a vocal sound
I
code
do.
that she
you do?
does.
I do
Yeah.
I do codes, and so whenever, and the other day when I was channeling and I was giving some attunements, I was like, golly, that's so loud. But it just was so natural. It comes so natural, and I really feel like I want to play into that a lot more as well. So hearing you have that invitation, that sounds really, really juicy.
Yeah, so that's not a question necessarily to connect, but I would
Sure,
say,
but well,
but
it might be
State of
that it
being.
might start with the question of what can
what do
I
you,
play with today?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. What can I play with today?
Beautiful.
What makes me happy? What would I like? It's hard because I know that we're also busy working, making money, doing all the things that we need to do to survive in the matrix. But could you take a couple of hours and say, what would you like to do right now? What would you like to do? And even if that's like laying down and being like a lot of the time, what I want to do is lay down on the floor with my dogs and just pet them for a while. And it just makes me super happy. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that because I freaking love dogs more than anything. And it just
Yeah.
puts that joy in me. And I can be all up in my computer and, really overworking myself. And I'll just say, I'll just drop everything and do that. And then I'll come back to work more productive. I'll feel better.
Yeah.
All of it is connected. So,
See,
yeah.
what you're talking about is really my relationship with my body. And I don't really think of it as an inner child. I really think of it as a relationship that I have with my body. Like my body wants to take a swim. My body wants to be out in the sun. My body wants to play with the dogs. And I just find it interesting, the little bit of discernment maybe in the wording.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
maybe that is what calls out to you in that way. For me, body and inner child are like that. I don't see them as the same. Like it's kind
Well,
of weird.
No,
Wow,
I
that's
don't
wild,
either.
wild.
But
Okay.
yeah.
What is
I guess
wow,
maybe I haven't defined inner child. I don't know what an inner child is then,
interesting.
right?
Okay, though, I think that you're also bringing that through to give people permission to see this in different ways.
Yes.
Because some people, inner child feels gross. Like some people, like when I started reading that book and it brought up the inner child work, she talked about some of the people that had come into her space where they felt almost resentful that they had to repair it themselves. Like that, there is a bit of a victim mentality that you'll get over as you start to do this because you're like, why is it my responsibility? Why should I have to go back and love on my,
Oh,
it's a
interesting.
big thing. Like, and
Yeah.
for some of us, we're like mad that we
Yeah.
have to do that we've got all these wounds and things that we're carrying from our childhood because it wasn't our fault. But I always say what happened to us is not our fault, but healing is our responsibility. And no matter how many different ways you look at it, it's still going to be a responsibility. So the sooner that you just accept it and go, I'm all powerful and I can totally do that, the sooner you'll get through it.
Wow.
Well, it is inspiring to hear you say that you have so much fun and joy and like playing, talking with you right now. I would never believe that you were the person that you had described earlier in this interview. I saw you just like light up and talking about like how you live your life, and I thought, wow, this person used to be on Klonopin and was really. I'm like, golly, change is so available for us. Yeah, that's
Thank you that for that reflection because I know a lot of people deal with mental illness on all kinds of different levels, and I know that when I was deep in that dark hole, I felt I'm the only one who deals with this. I'm never
Yep.
getting out of here. It's
Yep.
never going to get better. I don't know what's going to, and sometimes it just takes that person, my homeopath, or some conversation that you hear or something that you see that will help you kind of lift that veil that you have not necessarily put on yourself, because that sounds really heavy and harsh,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
more or less, like, you do have the power to lift it either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny. My cousin had a car accident. He was hit by a semi, and his entire body and nervous system was in extreme pain. There was no surgery they could do. It was like nerve lesions and things like that, and it literally crippled him, right? And what he's finding is 5 years later now, the more he moves and uses his body, the faster he's healing.
Wow.
It almost seems that that was your way to really come into your full expression, is you really had to say, I'm getting fit, I'm moving, I'm changing everything. And then the mindset came secondary, the mindset and the emotions.
Well, and I think that that's something that the Western medicine, whatever, does a disservice to us. And they're starting to figure it out. But the mind and the body are absolutely connected. And a lot of
I
the time, the body
know.
and the mind will follow. If you embody an emotion, your mind will go, oh, okay, I guess we're feeling happy
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like thought, heart, heart,
Yes.
thought.
Exactly.
Because your
Yeah.
heart has thoughts too.
Uh-huh. It sure does.
Yeah.
Or it has a
And
frequency that
It
creates
also,
thoughts,
but also
maybe.
has neurons, so it also has
Yeah.
the same things that we have in our gut, right? So it
Yeah.
also has, the
Mhm.
same neurons that we have. I don't know if it's neurons, but like the actual word is like the same cells that are in our brain are also in our heart and
Yeah.
in our gut.
It's
So
like I kind of think of it as electric, magnetic, electric,
Ooh,
magnetic.
like that. Absolutely.
But no, I would say your heart is electric, magnetic, in its own way.
it's got its own field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All your chakras do.
Yeah.
Ooh, which makes us want to talk to you a little bit about chakras. I know you do some chakra tuning. What
Mhm.
is it that you specifically do around that? Is that through sound?
Yes, it's through sound, and also a lot of the time, especially if it's like a one-on-one client, it's through a little bit of conversation and emoting to kind of get to the root of what's actually going on. And then you can use
Mm.
the frequencies. The bowls specifically are attuned to each of the individual seven main chakras.
Mm.
And so you can use that. So I've been known to have somebody in the middle of a bunch of bowls and moving bowls around them and shifting things and tapping on stuff and just kind of moving energy. So yeah, you can use
Yeah.
sound to, I mean, that's one of the most powerful things
Love
of
it.
sound.
Yep.
We are all vibration, right? Every single thing, we're made of vibration, and we've got all that water in us. And if you've ever put
Mhm.
water into a singing bowl and you move it, you can see all the movement that happens there. And
Yeah.
so as these little bodies that have been holding the traumas and the experiences and the words and the feelings, we put it places. If you don't move it out, you're going to put it in your hips, you're going to put it in your belly, you're going to put it in your feet, you're going to put it somewhere, and then kind of just stuff it away,
Mhm.
especially if it's emotional and negative. And the singing bowls, all the frequencies that I work with or any other sound healer works with, can move that within.
Uh-huh.
I mean, people can come in to a 1 hour sound bath and leave totally changed if they believe they can, you know?
I love how you explain that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's like go beyond just what you hear this morning. But
I
the way
like
you
that.
explained it, I'm going to adopt that. Like, how we're mostly water. Well, have
I
you
know,
ever
I love
seen how
that.
sound
Love that.
frequency moves
I love
water?
that.
Well, it's like moving out of you before it even gets stuck in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that because that's like in the moment of the things that happen to us, we don't always have the ability, the tools, the space to process. So sometimes we do. Like plenty of times, the astrology reading that I had, I was telling her, the placement that I hate the most is my Aries moon, because I feel like I'm a fiery little dragon that gets really angry really quickly and then it dissipates just as quickly. But if I stub my toe, you're gonna see me act like the Hulk and maybe smash something and then be like, okay, I'm fine. Like it happens every time. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so embarrassing. Like, why do I have to be like that? But she was like, well, maybe you should make an altar to your Aries moon and thank it for letting that get out of your body rather than internalizing it. And I was like, damn, girl, that's a good
That's
perspective.
good. That's good. That's
So,
good.
that being said, sometimes we have the ability, but other times, depending on the scenario, we're like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and stuff that down and save it for later. And then you forget about it. And that's where the frequency comes in. That's
Mhm.
where and other things, breath
Or
work.
trauma. Yeah, trauma that then can create illness, that can then create whole disruption and a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, and trauma
Yeah.
literally unchecked will turn into something in your body, whether it's small or big, but it can. So maybe that's a big thing to say, but sound healing can help you with that. Sound healing can help you move, and maybe it'll take you a few, especially if you're Joe so much. He's just like, yes. It's making me so happy, Joe. I love it so much.
I know.
Especially if you're like, again, the current download that I got this past weekend is one that really
Boy, everybody got downloads this weekend.
I
Boy,
know.
I told you
I feel like
everything.
it's almost every day now.
It is. It is. And yes,
because it's
and that's what
amping
the
up.
download that I got.
It's speeding up, right? It's
Yes,
happening.
Yeah.
yes, very much so.
Yeah,
But
for
it's something
everyone.
like literally for everybody. And
Yes,
so
and that's what I got too. Like ask your questions, ask your guides
that's why
for
you're
more.
saying at the
We're
beginning,
like really ADHD, huh?
all of us. I'm like, what are we talking about right now?
I love it. I love it.
Gosh, sound. Wow.
I forget. Oh,
So, yeah.
the thing that I got, the download, it's very heavy, and it's a part of my identity. So I'm holding onto that veil very strongly. So am I going to go to one sound healing and release it? Probably not, just because I've got some work that I need to do around releasing that and forgiving it and accepting it or whatever. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, okay, well, I went to one sound bath and I still feel my trauma. Yeah, you might. That's okay. It's just part of your process and maybe even part
It's
of
a
your
practice.
karma. It's a practice, but it does have the power to do it. So
It
I highly
does.
recommend it to anybody who is thinking about it.
Oh, I love that so much. We just put out a chakra program. It's all frequency based.
I love the fact that you don't have to sit there and understand what it's doing. It can reach you on a I call it the super conscious level.
Yeah.
And it just bypasses all that limitation, all that places where we hold everything up, and it just speaks right up to it. It can change things like you don't even have to know how it's doing it. It just does.
I'm super big on that because I'm not the kind of person who needs to understand science of any. I mean, like it works, I believe it, I feel it. The end. But some people do, and that's okay. But
I
yeah,
do have to understand it, but I do understand that I also have a lot of stuff that wants to come up and say, no, that's not, this not, doesn't work. So I'm like, yeah, just kind of pour me in.
right. Just like
Go past that thing.
just bypass that.
Yeah.
This gets more into a human design conversation, which I'm super
Yes.
obsessed with, and I know not everybody is, but I think 50 or 60% of us have an undefined will or ego center, which means that we're not really meant to do things on a strict schedule, on an
Okay, I
exact
like
way
that.
tell us to. And I
Yeah.
have struggled with consistency my entire life. And then I saw that I had an undefined will center, and I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of.
Mhm.
I
So for me, it's
gotcha.
more about can I show up more often? I try not to tell myself every morning at 7 a.m. you're going to do this inner child meditation.
Yeah.
I
That
say,
seems heavy.
it's too much. It feels like a box to me. It feels
Mhm.
too hard. But so, and some people like that. Some people thrive in that structure. So if you do embody that, but for me, mine is just like, how can I talk to her more often? Can I invite her to do something with me? Can I invite her in my head in the car when I'm doing this? Can I, it's just more of a flow versus like an everyday thing. So yeah.
I like that.
Great.
I like
Well,
that.
let's take a few callers. Joe has his hand raised. So
So basically, it's not a question. I just want to thank all three of you guys for bringing back a memory for me from way
Oh,
long ago.
Mm.
It just kind of all fit together back
all of
in
us,
the
huh?
late 70s when I was running around with a band and having major depressive
Oh, no.
disorder.
Mm,
I was kind of like their self-appointed sound engineer.
mm. See, that would seem like it would be so
And
fun.
yeah, I couldn't wait to get up behind that board.
Hmm.
And most of the time, just listening to you guys talk it was not as much as this that got that board right. It was this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was following
I
the
could tweak
energy.
it with my ears just so far, but my heart, I could feel it when I knew it was perfect.
Can I ask you a question, Joe?
Yes,
Do you feel like that memory is a door or a portal to something, an ascension of some kind, and that opened up something for you, understanding and remembering that?
yes,
Mhm.
very definitely.
Wow.
We're all
Wow,
walking through
that just
today.
like, I know, really, these doors.
Oh my
I love
gosh.
it.
Wow. It's funny. My first show, I I named New Wealth Experience, right? And it was always about the new experience that you were going to have on each show. And I loved that name a whole lot because it is a life experience that would even make us be able to have a memory or a recall. Like if we're just doing the same boring thing every single day, we don't have any portals. Basically, we have less portals where we can go and change. And one of the things I know about you is that you really do create life experience after life experience after life experience, and you document it on social media. I mean, it just is like, here's somebody really living.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and it makes me go back to what you were saying at the beginning about talking about it. And sometimes I struggle to talk about it. So thank you for that reflection, because I think it's important that all of us talk about what Joe just shared too. All of us talk about these downloads, these awakenings, these doors, these experiences, because I talk a lot about the Matrix too, which could be like the movie, could be like whatever you think it is. It's just the structure that kind of keeps us in the limited versus the unlimited.
Yeah.
Is kind of how we look at it, right? And
Yeah.
so the more experiences we have, the more of those portals open. And if you listen to Abraham Hicks, they talk about that. They talk about the contrast of the universe, and the contrast of your earthly experience creates more things to go into your vortex so that you can have more experiences. It's the whole point
Yeah.
here. It's the whole
What
reason.
it definitely brought up for me like how grateful I am to be a human. Like I get to have this experience. I know I don't always say that. I don't always feel that way. I'm like, why am I on this earth school? But today, right now, in this moment, when you were both talking, I was like, man, I get to have these experiences. And I get to have memories, and I get to enjoy the green, grass outside and these beautiful trees outside of Jeanette's window. Like that's cool. But if we weren't humans, we wouldn't be having these experiences, these memories, these moments where we get to have a portal
That's what
together.
I
You're
had that.
channeling this on fire today. Sorry, go ahead. You're on fire.
I think it's a collective today. I really do. I think
Yeah,
we
but
definitely.
it's something that people need to hear, because I really think when you're struggling, if you can go, oh, thank God I get to be human. This is hard, and like, because that's another thing in the Matrix. Life sucks. Life is hard. That's something we're told at young age, is that that's just how it is, and be realistic, and life is hard, and it's all BS. If we can shift it into, I get to be human. How fun. Like I look at this as a video game a lot. I'm like,
I
I'm just
love
gonna
it.
have fun, and I'm gonna play and, jump over the tubes and eat the mushrooms or whatever, like Mario. It's just a fun game to play.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like many people are just trapped in that paradigm that they don't see another way. They don't see a reason to, pay for a ticket to go across the world,
Yeah.
and, maybe they don't even have the desire or the money or something else too. But I do think that creating life experience is more in the like fun way. Because I was thinking the other life experiences we remember are like the time that we were attacked by a dog or had to jump over the snake, or something that was really evil in this world. Evil, like jumping over a snake.
Oh goodness.
Have you done that? That was an
I
interesting-
know. Is that you get a lot of snakes you jump over?
Or the time
Too
my
cute.
roommate was in the top bunk and peed on me.
Oh. You're laughing. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It was even comical at that time too.
I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure.
Anyway, there are other experiences in life other than the planned ones, but let's create some planned ones for some fun, huh?
Yes. Well, and you brought up a really powerful thing too, is that, some people may not have the money, and
Yeah.
that ends up being a really big mental block.
Yeah.
So for example, I just went across the world, or maybe not across, actually, I'm not really good at geography. I went to Peru. It's not across the world. It's down, I think. But that was a pilgrimage I'd wanted to take for years, to go to Peru and do ayahuasca. And I didn't have the money in the beginning. Years ago, I started it, and I started the idea of wanting to do this. I didn't have the money, and I tried, and I kept trying, and I got really discouraged for a little while, but I just kept the desire, and I kept that in my frequency, and 4 years later it happened, right? So sometimes it's just somewhere else in the timeline, and you'll get there. But if you can focus on the things that you can do joyfully in your immediate space with your immediate means, and then keep the frequency of the other things that you want to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really feel like this is something I want to dive more into.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is like everything, right? I mean, where my head is going as you're talking, I'm going, well, I just shared on Tuesday, and it was actually the very beginning clip that I put in it, but I shared that what exactly was it? That we're going to go back up to heaven after
Oh
this
yeah.
life,
Yeah. That was
and
cute.
we are going to recite what we did in this life, and we're going to be like, ooh, that was so fun. Let's do it again. You know, we're just going to like play out the suffering and everything like that. And it's funny because when we go into memory and recall, I was thinking about some of the old, like the not so good memories, which was how I came up with the peeing on me.
It reminds
But
me of
now it's like,
on my
now that it's past, it's like this hilarious story.
I know.
Wow. And I really think that we're going to go up to heaven, and all those stories that were awful, we're going to be like, actually, that was really funny.
And that
And
is
I lived.
and the truth is that when you look at like Dolores Cannon's work or you look at Michael Newton's work, they worked with a lot of life between lives, and
Mhm.
all of their accounts have some version of exactly that.
Uh-huh.
So when I heard you say it, I just got these, you know, the replay of all these case studies.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew that this stuff really works this way.
If I go
Yeah.
back in my head to the 80s and the 90s, I mean, it's all really fun memories.
Oh,
But at the time, I said at the beginning, I was really depressed, really depressed. But I only seem to really remember it being fun.
that's good.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So now
Yeah.
you've changed your how
But
you visit
I
it.
did have kind of a mystical walk-in experience in between, so
Well, that's
it
what I wanted
might
to
be
kind of
different.
like
I might not actually be that person.
that happens. I mean, honestly,
Sure.
like you could live 3 or 4 different lives and you're not even the same person you used to
Sure.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's good though. I do see it that way. I see that we go, well, I actually saw the space when I was on ayahuasca. I got to see sort of the cosmic
I was gonna
area.
ask that.
Hang
Mhm.
out. Yeah. And I went up there and it got tuned up and we all were like, oh, okay, let's go back to Earth and do our thing and have a good time. And I think that this whole thing is a ride. And even if you have memories that you're not like, oh, that was so funny, even if you've got some memories where you remember them and you're like, wow, that wasn't hilarious at all. And it still isn't. It still was something that really contributed to you,
Yes.
to who
Yeah.
you are. And it's so
Yeah.
like all the trauma, I don't know if you resonate with this, Leonka, but all the trauma that I experienced, I'm grateful for it because I get to help people and I get
Yeah.
to do this and I get to show up in a way that I understand when people come to me with trauma. I feel that.
Yes.
I know how to, and I know how to hold space for it because I've been through it. So I'm grateful.
And I now know that I experienced it so that I could be that space, because I can tell you that there was a couple of times where I lied to all kinds of different, and I didn't do a lot of therapy, but as soon as I got there, I was lying. I'm like, they were like, "Why are you here? You seem so happy."
Yeah.
But it was just how I operated. And I would always look at their, like, you know, they would have like their credentials on the wall. And I'm thinking, you have no idea what it was like to be growing up like me. I'd just be like, you and your perfect little life. Like, I don't know these people. They could have had whatever. But I also know that in order to be able to facilitate in the way that I do, and I'm sure that you do too, I have had to and I wanted to have the expression and have that experience in my own life. And honestly, I was a very happy kid. So I know I choose my parents. I remember it actually. Yeah. 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 I do now. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to bring up your special offer just so that people can see the page. And I mean, you gave us like this remarkable discount code. And so this is like something that's really accessible to like every
Mhm.
single person. So let's go ahead and bring it up real quick and let them know.
This is what's coming through me. This isn't something I made months ago. You know what I mean? This is something that's coming through me right now that I think is important. So anyway, I thought that was cool. Please continue. I just love the synchronicity.
I do too. I do too.
Well, go ahead and share about this inner child activation bundle.
Okay, so this is what we were talking about earlier, right? So I've got the
Yep.
guided audio, the PDF download, and the
Let's go a little quick. So with the guided audio,
Yeah.
what do they learn in that?
So these specific ones are a little bit around abundance, and not because I am super interested in money specifically, but I'm more interested in what abundance and money, the experiences that it helps you create. So just like we were just talking about, the experiences that we get to have on earth, when you have more money, you can have more experiences. It's not about being rich or having more than others. It's about having the tools and ability to experience more while you're here. And so these are all specifically around that. So the guided abundance meditation, it's reconnecting with your inner child in a way that helps you kind of unlock what's in the way of your abundance. So if you're feeling lacking in a way, then it helps you kind of get to the next level of that. And it's something you can revisit again and again, because you will consistently be met with new blocks around money, and then you have to transcend it and keep going. And so that's what that guided audio is about.
And then there's the journaling that you spoke of, which kind of gives you ideas to awaken this inner child, which we've talked a little bit about on this call. And then there's this bonus, and that's the breath work that makes you cry.
Yes.
So, there's
Makes
two
me cry.
audios and a PDF, and we have a code for you. It's
It's actually so now to use, so this right here is the 444, and then if they want to do an upgrade where they get a one-on-one, talk a little bit about how and the special that you gave us there.
Yeah, thank you for, I was going to say that same thing. So this is 4444, and then there's an option if you scroll down to do a one-on-one session with me where we dive deeper into this. And again, like I said, I'm more of a conduit for downloads and a space holder.
Clearly.
Like literally, we've just watched it this whole time.
Mhm.
And I remind myself of that every time I'm hosting space. If I get in my head, I'm like, you know what? I am literally just here to deliver the space and the information for you, or not even the information, the place for you to get the download.
Yep.
Things and tools, but it's more about the space that I hold for you to understand how this information needs to come through you and what you need to receive, just like Joe did, hearing us talk about this. And he goes, oh my gosh, I had this memory and now a portal is open. I'm more of like a portal opener than I am.
You are.
Yeah.
Rudy,
You did it for me. You did it for me too, and I didn't even know that you were doing to me. Isn't that funny? That's fascinating.
Interesting. And when you said that, and then it brought up my recall.
Oh my gosh, fascinating, girl. This is awesome.
This is
So
great.
you all are empowering me right now, because this is kind of helping me understand more and more how I operate and how I can be of the most service to others and myself. So thank you.
So then they can also purchase a session.
So they get the bundle, they want to upgrade to get the session, and then if you
And then they have a chance to put in a coupon.
with the coupon code, it's $33 off. So it breaks the total, which was normally $188 minus the 33. So I mean, you're getting this really cool bundle plus time with Jen. That's really awesome. So thank you so much for doing that. She did that specifically for our viewers today, and it'll also be all through the replay. We'll put that coupon code, which is Haute Hustle, into the description with the link, and she gave us a free gift, so we'll also share out your
That'll be
free
in the
gift too.
newsletter.
So, and we will put that in the newsletter, so you have to sign up to get our newsletters in order to access that, but you'll love our newsletter. We also have other free gifts, so it's just at houtehustle.com to get that.
Thank you. What a fun call. I feel
I
like
know.
we need to have you back to do
Oh,
Akashic
totally.
Records. There's
Oh,
something about you that makes my brain go ADHD a little bit too. So I'm like, we got to go here. Oh my gosh, this was so fun.
I kind of
Yeah.
feel high a little
Yeah,
bit.
I do
a lot,
too.
real high.
Oh, girl.
Good.
Well, I hope that others will be able to receive, because you're being changed too. Even if you're listening on the replay, it really, really permeates. And what you may not think you're hearing right now, you always receive differently.
There's no way that I could have received the no timeline, and you're actually going back and talking to your previous self about 10 years ago. Like that was like not receivable for me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's important, because some people, if you're listening, you may not be ready to receive that, and that's okay. Keep receiving what you can receive.
Yeah.
Take what you can, and there's no judgment on your experience
Right.
or how you're supposed to receive it. Just receive it, and just know that it will continue to transmute through you as you just understand it on the level, because you're also leveling up as you live life, and that will help. Like 10 years ago, you might not have been able to receive it.
Lovely
Yes.
to connect with you. Thank you.
No.
All right, you guys, for the announcements. The next thing I wanted to just share is that Jenna tomorrow will be back in the studio. You'll be doing the rewire. And so tell us a little bit about that, Jenna.
Yeah, it's a hypnosis and meditation. Tomorrow we're going to do just a little bit of breath work. and really bring in a frequency into your body. Talk about frequencies and chakras. We have 2 programs out. One's I call Hertz Frequencies, and it's 8 frequencies for $8. And the other one is called Chakra Tune Up. And that is frequencies that tune your chakras. And I've also taken all those chakra frequencies and really embedded the 5D of awesomeness in them. So it's kind of a really interesting program, and it's just $27. So look for those. They're both at the bottom of the newsletter, and they will change your life. I've listened to them all the time. They're by a sound engineer. These aren't any things that I've just like fucked around with and made myself. Like these are real, real
Right,
quality
right.
things.
And
And you should listen to them with great headphones
That's right.
that you can find in our Amazon shop.
I love you. Speaking of shop, we also have a marketplace. And so it's just the Haute Hustle marketplace with some 5D, really cute jewelry and some little swag. Yes. And so then we also want to remind you too that we have the Mystique. It's always an invitation. It is just a place, it's our mastermind, it's an inner circle. This is where we come and we meet. We meet the second Wednesday of every month. And so next week we'll be meeting in the evenings. If you're on your spiritual journey, a place where you can raise your hand, ask, there's no questions that are too weird, too raw, no judgment. There's just a lot of love in this group. And then also what happens is being amongst each other, our spiritual gifts awaken. So we pull from those and we really rise and create more of a space for all of our spiritual gifts to awaken. And as we go into our regular lives, how are we using those gifts? And so it's just a little bit of teaching that we get to do and facilitation. Lots of bonuses in this thing. It's just $37 a month.
You can always email us. In fact, if you want to email us first and say, I'm looking at trying it and ask a question, feel free to do that.
Yeah, it's just team@hautehustle.com. And then to find the page to learn a little bit more about Mystique. I don't even think we've gotten nowhere near into it.
Dipping a toe in.
Yes. We're going to have a big live event soon. So these are all be the things that'll be available.
Yeah. I'm sure Mystique will get a discount for
Yes.
our live event
Yes.
in the fall.
They're going to, yes, it's going to be so
And then you're going to know people, and then you're going to want to show up live and hug these people that you've met over the months. And it's just such a fun group. The link is in the newsletter. It's at the very bottom. It's also at the bottom of all the YouTubes.
All of the links are at the bottom of the YouTubes, and then also any free gifts and all of these will also be in the newsletter. So hautehustle.com to get signed up on the newsletter. I'm sorry that I cut you off. The other thing too is I always wanted to remind everyone that we do a portion of our proceeds go back to support Rise and Up. We always believe that, giving back is something that we've always wanted to do. And Rise and Up helps to refurbish like laptops and computers, and they do that at the schools. And then they give them back to people, to kids and even women in the shelters for use in education and wellness. Plus, there's these really great hypnosis tracks that Jeneth has put together on all kinds of things. So whether it's weight loss, whether it's showing up on, what did I say that wrong?
No, it's weight loss, and I have confidence.
Oh, confidence was the word. I was like trying to follow you. So and maybe you should be talking about this. But
280.
I love the different, just the different gamut of all the things that you have put into those. And she's got this really great voice for hypnosis, and I think that you'll really enjoy those. So just take a look and maybe something is calling out to you. What else? Oh, you've got a book on Amazon. That's right.
Well, I think they're tired of announcements. We can talk about these things later.
I do want to, instead of announcements, I also wanted to let people know that what I think really quickly I wanted to just start doing at the end of every show is really set an intention here. And I'm going to take a second to say this because where 2 or more are gathered, we can change this world. And I think it's important for us to always remember. So we're putting together like an intention. It's not like it's an intention, a group, and I'm calling it. So maybe we can play with this, y'all. I'm calling it the Unified Hearts Alignment. It's a collective heart-centered vision for the highest good of all through 5D heart-brain coherence. And so today's vision, just take a breath with me. Ooh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And drop into your heart. And today's vision is for universal harmony.
Mm.
It says, here we intend for all beings to live in harmony, respecting and uplifting each other, transcending differences, and to create a peaceful world for us all.
Mm.
Take another breath. Drop in. So be it, and so it is. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, so let's
Maybe-
create a massive movement, y'all. Let's do this together. That is what we have been saying all along. So to do that, don't forget to like and subscribe and maybe share this message to others. And then join us on houtesoul.com, join us on the other socials, and join us next week as well.